Get that out here. So. My friends, it truly is a great honor to speak before you tonight. And again, I have no more words. What could we say to Richard and Nomi with their warm hearts and spirits? And to all of you, my friends, it truly is a great thing to be here with you tonight. You know, I believe that history could be judged. It could be always painted in a complex political way. But there's certain moments, certain emotions in a man's life that are so honest, that are so authentic, that they can't actually be judged. It's a moment and a picture, and a few sound bites that there isn't an Israeli, and I would believe there isn't a Jew in the world, or almost a Jew in the world, maybe I'm naive, that doesn't know of. That picture of 3 paratroopers in the Western Wall in 1967, looking up to the Western Wall of Jerusalem right after the liberation. And there's another soundbite that was heard by the commander Mota Gul. Mota Gul was the commander of the paratroopers while they were entering the old city. And he goes on the communication, on the walkie-talkie, and this was sound all over. My grandparents in the United States remember even hearing it in the United States on CBS News. He says, Ani karega tzoed ba'ir ha'atika. I am now marching in the old city of Jerusalem. And something even more remarkable happens. Another guy gets on the radio, on the walkie-talkie. He says, and I have to say it in the native language and then I'll translate, because to think of the power. אני לא אדם דתי, אף פעם לא הייתי, אבל אני עומד בכותל המערבי. In that drama, in that tone, more enthusiastic. You can't get to his enthusiasm. I am not a religious man, he says. I never have been. But ladies and gentlemen, which he didn't say, I'm telling you, I am standing in the Western Wall of Jerusalem. Now we can paint what's happening in Israel today with many paints, but you cannot take away that emotion. You cannot take away from very rational people, from IDF soldiers, the feeling that they were feeling that comes out in that picture. So we need to ask ourselves one question that we should all ask ourselves all the time: why? See, there's a phenomena that only happens in our people, and I study history of many other cultures. It doesn't happen with the Greek Empire, it doesn't happen with the Roman, many of them have already fallen, not with the Babylonian, with no one. It happens in our culture only. We're sitting here in Sydney, and we're thinking of a city thousands and thousands of miles away. I was walking through schools today, beautiful schools where many of your children are learning and studying, and I saw maps of Israel. How crazy is that? Only in our culture will you have not that clash of identity, but that beautiful double identity of, in one hand, the place that you're living, and in the other, where your heart is. That's incredible. That's beautiful. And the question that we must ask ourselves is why? And I believe that the answer is, in a sense, in our DNA. See, Jerusalem and the liberation of Jerusalem sums the pride of our people. It sums in such a beautiful way the incredible and unbelievable change of the life of the Jewish people that has occurred. From a people who had to yearn for Jerusalem, who had to only pray for Jerusalem. Jerusalem was like a metaphor. Jerusalem is now real. Many of you have had apartments there. Many of you eat in their restaurants. You love the hummus. You love the shawarma. It exists. We've revived history. That's Jerusalem. That's what's so unique about our people, is that even when we go to 2,000 years of diaspora, even when we're sitting tonight in Sydney, we remember. Our hearts are there. Our souls are there. Our contributions many times are there. We create organizations just to think about that. That's the strength of our people. That's what we need to educate, that needs to continue. Because Jerusalem represents our pride. It's what needs to raise us up from any place we are in the world and say, that's where my culture is. That's where my DNA connects. That's my natural habitat. Even if I live somewhere else and I'm a proud Australian, I'm also a proud Jerusalem. Jerusalem is always in the sight. It's always in my thoughts. No matter where I go. You know, as I've been here in Australia, I thought about it. If you want to see beautiful views, it would be a good thing to go to New Zealand. It would be a good thing to go to Switzerland and the state of Israel, of course, but there's those beautiful views in the world. I didn't tell that to the students in schools. I told them it was the most magnificent, so don't tell them that there are actually another couple nice places in the world. If I want to go to nice coasts, I've been in coasts. Here in Australia and in other places in the world, and in Tel Aviv, quite beautiful. But if I want to see prophecy reliving itself, if I want to see biblical history on live television, I need to walk the streets of Jerusalem and see how the prophecy that was written 3,000 years ago, "Od yeshvu na'arim uzkenim berchovotea shel ir u'yeladim yischaku ba," there will sit men and women inside the city and children will play in it. That's living now on live television on the theater next to you. It's called Jerusalem. That's the stake that those paratroopers, the proud paratroopers, absolutely had in their minds when they were going up there. That's why a secular Jew, a religious Jew, a Reformed Jew, a conservative Jew, many nations of the world always have a place in their heart for one city. That's what's so unique. That's what we went through, and that's the place that we always return to. Jerusalem, for me, is where my conscience always is. When I leave Jerusalem and go to the airport, I already feel like I went abroad, because I'm going to Tel Aviv usually, and that's, everywhere I go, I think of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the place where, unfortunately, my friends are buried. It is the place where there is the Hall of Remembrance. It is the place where